Yo, welcome to Vegabomber land, and you know who I am. I'm the bomber himself, Vegabomber. And well, this time I'm ready to talk about Spectre, the new James Bond movie. Now, anybody that's been watching my channel for a while knows that I love the action and adventure films, and this one would be no different. That's right, this is what, the 24th film, James Bond film that's ever been produced. And this film, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the pros, the cons, and all the other good stuff. So, this movie kind of starts off with the premise that I kind of already saw this year in Mission Impossible 5. This whole idea that, you know, the young generation coming in saying, hey, we can use digital surveillance. We don't need a one-man gang to go in there and blow everything up and take everything. So we're going to all of a sudden make the 007 program, or the 00 program, obsolete. So that's like one of the things that's going on. And then eventually this movie tries to go down a personal level with Bond, but I don't know. I don't know that it went there. So let me break it down. Let's talk about the props. The props. What this film did right. Spectre, to me, was really good as it relates to cinematography. The shots were beautiful. They were lined up well. I loved seeing the different cities. You had Monaco, you had London, you had South Africa, you had Mexico City, you had Austria. I mean, all these different places and all these different sets. It was just incredible to see. So the cinematography was just wonderfully shot. Another prop about this film would be the action. And the action is just furious once it gets going. And again, we could talk about other things as to what happened in that action. But for now, what you need to know is that the action does deliver. So if you're an action adventure fan like me, no problems, no worries. It is all good. Another pro, I'd say, a prop for this was that Aston Martin DB10. What a beautiful car. They had a wonderful chase scene go on in there, and it almost made you feel like the Batmobile because it had switches inside of it. But I'm not going to tell you what switches. You'll have to go see the movie to see what that car can do, or what Q put onto that car. But it was definitely way cool. Here's a huge prop for this film. I'd have to say the fight on the train between Daniel Craig and Bautista. Easily, I would say that's the best fight sequence all year long. Sorry, Ant-Man. Sorry, Avengers. You know, Age of Ultron. That was a fight scene. The fight scene in this movie is worth it. Completely worth it. And I don't want to get into a whole bunch because maybe that'd be spoiler territory, but just so you know, best fight scene of the year easily in this film. And if it's not number one, it's tied for number one. That's how tight that is. Also, I would say that this film was good to score. Whenever there were parts that were kind of lagging in the film, it was the score that kind of helped pick it back up again. And it was used beautifully. So, again, imagine great cinematography, great visuals, great action, a sweet car, that Aston Martin DB10, awesome fight scene, and then, of course, the score helping out in some of the slower parts. And by the way, let's now look at the cons to this movie, because it's a good movie, but it's not a great movie. But it's definitely one that I would still say that you'd want to see. So some of the eye rolls here for me would be, well, the pacing. There were parts where it just took too long to try to explain something, and then they beat you over the head in other parts when they finally did show you the villain, and then, well, I'll get to that actually now. Another eye roll was definitely the villain. I thought that the villain, who was played by Christoph Waltz, was kind of genius at first. When they first showed him on the screen, he was awesome, and the way they introduced him, awesome. But then, as it wore on, basically he kind of is not even in the middle of the film, but he's there at the end. He kind of falls into that trope of, let me tell you all the reasons why I'm going to kill you so that you have time to then work a gadget behind your back and escape. I mean, that same old trope keeps showing up. Now, some might say, oh, but that always has to happen, Bomber, in these kind of films. Maybe, but after 24 of these, come on. I mean, we're not creative enough to come up with something else, so I thought that was pretty lame. I'd also say that the ending of this film, I mean, it starts great, but the ending was just unsatisfying. And again, since this is spoiler-free, I won't tell you what that is, but I really wasn't very satisfied by the ending. And again, I'd say probably one of the other big eye rolls here would be the fact that it just pretty much is a cut and paste of MI5. So, but all that being said, again, it's still worth it if you're an action fan and you want to go see Daniel Craig. He is definitely Bond. He's definitely British. He's all poshed out and everything else. I mean, it's Bond, man.
So, James, why did you come? I came here to kill you. And I thought you came here to die. Well, it's all a matter of perspective.
So, you know, here in Vegabomber Land, we only have 2 ratings in our rating system. It's a pass or fail. There is no middle ground. Either the movie is good enough for you to spend your money on, which is blowing up, or the movie needs to be detonated because it just doesn't need to exist anymore. And I would say Spectre, the new James Bond installment, is definitely blowing up. Blowing up because that action is incredible, and that fight scene between Bautista and Daniel Craig, it's the deal. It's for real. So at any rate, I'm your boy Vommer, and now I'm on my way out. Thank you for paying attention again. Subscribe below. Comment, like, tell me, was I too hard on the film, or did you see some things in the film that you liked that I didn't mention? Oh, and by the way, who's better, Tom Cruise in MI5 or Daniel Craig in James Bond films? You let me know below. Now, I'm out of here. You! No.